I'm here today to talk to you about maps. Maps. I love maps. I think they're a great tool. Those two students who just gave me the wonderful introduction, they'll tell you how I never shut up about maps in class. I think it's super important in a global politics class, in a history class, any class. You have to understand what's going on. You have to understand what's on the map. However, there's some things that maps leave out. Now, I've been into geography for a long time. It's something I've been obsessed with. As you can see here, here's a journal entry from when I was in second grade. I'm bragging about how I know all the US state capitals. For those of you that know me, yes, I was a know-it-all back then, just like I am now. My handwriting's also just as bad. I was actually comparing yesterday, it's the same. But I was into it from such a young age. So as time developed, I started putting maps all over my room, knowing what's in what part of the world. I could tell you what flag represented what country. And then by the time high school rolled around, I was spending all my time on Google Earth. Every day I'd come home from school, I'd open Google Earth and spend hours when I was supposedly doing my homework. So this is the part I'm most nervous about giving the talk about. My mom's going to see this on YouTube. She's going to find out I wasn't doing my homework. She's going to fly across the ocean and beat me up. But hopefully that doesn't happen. So I love maps. And so now at this point, you're probably thinking, who cares? Wow, he could really look cool at a party. He can name the capitals of every country in the world. I promise I would never do that at a party. But I was in 12th grade when I came across this quote. It was AP Lit. And it was Heart of Darkness by Joseph Conrad. Now, for those of you that are familiar with the novel, the quote is taken out of context. It gets a little dark. But for me as a high school student, this is the part I was paying attention to. Now, when I was a little chap, I had a passion for maps. I would look for hours at South America or Africa or Australia and lose myself in all the glories of exploration. And I thought, wow, he was a little weirdo like me. He was into maps. None of my peers were, but he was. And then I started thinking about the context in which this quote was written. The quote was written in 1899. 1899 was a time when we didn't have technology like long-distance communication, transportation, television, forget internet. So how did you really understand the world back then? Well, it was through exploration. And exploration is kind of what gave me the drive to decide to explore the world. So after graduate school, I accepted my first job at the American School of Tegucigalpa in Honduras in Central America. And so now I want to show you a map that everybody suddenly wanted to show me when I was moving to Honduras. My government said, reconsider travel. Reconsider travel contains higher areas with higher security risk. Then why is the whole country orange? If there's some areas that are dangerous, why is the whole country orange? Why are they putting the whole country as do not travel or reconsider travel? Why are some countries, like Mexico just north of it, okay in the tourist areas, and they're differentiating by state and not by the whole country? Why are they doing that? I had friends say to me, you're crazy. Why would you move to a country like this? Honduras is literally known as the murder capital of the world. And it's true. There's quite a bit of gang violence there, but I can say confidently that I was never murdered, so here I am. In fact, it was the opposite. Not only was I never murdered, but I never had any violence towards me. I never had any even theft towards me. I had a great experience. So I want to show you a bit of the Honduras I experienced. By the way, Miss Dalla asked if I needed to copyright these pictures, and I said, no, they're mine. I took them all. And so I had a wonderful experience there. My colleagues were welcoming. My students were inquisitive. I even took them to the Pacific coast to release sea turtles at a sea turtle sanctuary in a rural area. That was a really rewarding experience to be able to see my students who are from the country learn more about their country, and I could learn with them. But after 4 years, I decided I wanted to explore more. And so I accepted a job in a new country, Lebanon. Habibi, welcome to Lebanon. My government told me, no, you're not welcome there. They won't welcome you. They said that to me. And granted, it was level 3 when I moved here in 2021. Unfortunately, there's been some events in the past year that have raised the level. But still, what does it say when a whole country is labeled as red? A whole country is labeled as do not travel. And now I'm not trying to say these warnings are not based on any sort of credible threats or danger. It's definitely there. They're saying this for a reason. But there might be some other purpose here. There might be some politics behind it. There may be some nuance behind it that's not being mentioned. So the British, they spent a bit more time on their map. As you can see, they break up Lebanon in different areas. Fine. I've noticed it also matches the divisions that many Lebanese people have when they look at Lebanon. I've been here for 4 years. I've traveled to every corner, even the red zones. I love it. All of it's wonderful. But what surprises me the most is when I meet Lebanese people is how many of them have not been to parts of their own country. It's such a small country, and people haven't been south of Beirut, or they haven't been north of Beirut, or they haven't been to the Bekaa. And it's interesting why that is. And of course, you can't ignore the last century of history that's happened in this country. There's conditions that have been formed because of unfortunate history, but I think it's time to break out of those conditions. So like I said, I'm going to show you some pictures now. I've traveled to every corner I can find. Again, my pictures. Shameless plug, Icy Hiking Club, sign up next year. And as I've traveled to these different parts of Lebanon, I've tried to get to know the people that have lived in these different parts. I try to understand their perspective and why they think the way they do. They've treated me with such hospitality and openness. It's the best thing I could do for them. And I think, not just in Lebanon, but generally in the world, we need to do better with this. And I'm talking to us adults. We need to do better with this. At this point, I've traveled to over 50 countries. Many of them level 4 do not travel red countries. I've been to Syria, I've been to Iraq, I've been to Ethiopia, I've been to the DRC, and I've been to so many other countries. Many countries I've been back to because I want to explore the region more. For me, it's not about checking countries off a list. It's about exploring them and getting to know the people that live there and understanding why they are the way they are and what they can contribute to the world and what we can learn from them. Just last month, I joined an expedition through Kazakhstan and Kyrgyzstan. Over the Easter break, I joined a group of people from all over the world. I think there's about 10 nationalities represented in this picture, and one of them's Lebanese, actually. Related to one of my students, ironically, I see. So, but what I learned was that out of this group, I was one of the least traveled people. I just told you I've been to 50 countries, and I was one of the least traveled people. And I was learning not only because these people are from so many different countries, but they've been so many places. And it was such a learning experience for me. It was so enriching that I was able to gain more from this. I think that we need to shake these labels. We need to work better to understand what's actually happening in places around the world. As an American over the last 600 days, I've witnessed an unfolding massacre happening just down the coast. And every time I talk to friends from back home or talk to them over the phone about what's happening, there just seems to be a disconnect. And there seems to be a disconnect between sympathy and empathy. They're sympathetic to the situation, but they don't quite understand it. There's no empathy. And I think in order for us to get past this level from sympathy to empathy, we have to start trying to understand what we're unfamiliar with in the world. Like I said, we need to shake these labels. We need to try and get to know places. We need to know the people there and what they think. And as we do that, the world will start to make more sense. Thank you. you.